All right, jumping right in this morning. Let me just shuffle a few more those around. We don't need this preview. Looks like we got sound going into OBS. All right, and yeah. So I'm jumping right in, just continuing where I left off on Saturday morning. Well, I guess we ended Saturday afternoon, would have been my time. Basically, we are converting these Winamp skins to be able to use on the PyPortal. We have our converter script. We're basically left with the output of it here. So right now I'm going to start putting some text in it in the display.io script. So we have CodePy right now. It's just running on-disk bitmap example, basically. Just loading the on-disk bitmap. The one other kind of trick to it right now is we've turned the display 90 degrees. I don't know, looks like we're printing these. We probably don't really need it. So we want to add a label. I'm just going to actually copy simple test. I generally start, instead of trying to type something out from memory, display text. Actually, let me do it. Yeah, let's do it in the other browser here. Sorry. Instead of typing things out by memory, I oftentimes will start with a simple test. That way I have a known good chunk of code that does kind of the most basic thing. But even display text and stuff I have the most experience with, oftentimes I still will start by grabbing a simple test and kind of going from there, right? This way I don't ever accidentally typo the import or import the wrong thing, although that didn't copy everything. That's interesting. I guess I didn't get the whole line. Let's do that. We'll need terminal IO as well. Actually, I'm just going to use the default font for now. And we basically just want to make a bitmap label and then add some text to it and then put it on a group. The group we already have. Oops, this is not the CodePy. Here we go. Doesn't really matter which order we do this in. We can make our text before. I'm going to call this one the song, current song actually, current song. I'm going to do LBL for label, bitmap label, text. We'll just do empty for now. We can fill in the text. Actually, let's do the same text that's in the previews, which we have downloaded actually. Let's just look at the download one. So in here it has DJ Mike. I don't know actually. LLO. Oh, is that Llama? I guess probably Llama. Mike Llama. Llama Whippin'. Llama Whippy. I guess it's gonna scroll though. It would have scrolled probably for the rest of it. Do we want to do the number? Put it for now. We might get rid of the number. Mike Llama. So I'm gonna use anchor point and anchor position. I like these generally for placing text. Place it by the top left and let's see, we're in the edited one. We can kind of cheat with GIMP a little bit, right? We can figure out roughly where this is going to be. Top left corner of the text is going to be somewhere around here, which is 9423. Whoops, 23. Okay, That should, well, no, we didn't add it to the group. So we created our label, but of course we're going to need to add it, which we have group, but I'm actually going to change this and call it main group. Wait, what did that change other? Project files. I just want this file and files. I think that might have changed it in some other files, which I don't. Maybe not bad, but I really want to change things that I'm not aware of right away. Create the group so we can add our label to it. Doesn't really matter if we do it before or after we show. Tile grid, we should rename this to, oops. Okay, should show now, I think. Yeah, but it's a little too big. And I guess we would want to read the text color, actually. Maybe we can scoot it up and it would be better. I don't have an easy way to zoom in more than that. So for one thing, let's grab the color out of our JSON file. So our converter script gave us this 240 by 320 BMP. Jackie Chan happens to be the one I'm testing with now, but it would work roughly the same for all of them. And then the other thing it spit out was this Jackie Chan config. Right, so I think we still, I think we didn't solve the problem actually with color. Our color should be black pretty much. We didn't get black for either of them. I think the problem was that the fonts were different than each other. So we grabbed a pixel assuming that it would be part of the one, I think it was, and it was not actually part of the one. So we need a better scheme to pull the color. For now, though, I am just going to, I think what I'll do is just edit them here. This way we can still do the loading. We're going to make variables, image, big file. Saying that this doesn't autocomplete. So we'll open the file, the image, read this, JSON, so we're going to read this. need to keep it open after we read it. So I don't know if we can just set the color directly. Maybe we should go back to not using 3 or 4. Maybe we should take the alpha out. This is expecting it to be, and maybe it'll just work. Okay, yeah, that worked. Okay. Yeah, let's scoot it up some. What we may do is find a smaller font that's still legible. Oh, that's pretty good. Runs off the end there, so we'll have to figure out the... We want to do scrolling. Maybe we'll make a new label. Maybe we'll make a scrollable label that holds a certain number of characters and then continually changes which characters are showing to kind of scoot them down the line. So the right half is a little close on the edges. It would be nice if this was like just a hair smaller. Over here it's not bad. Works out pretty well. I guess the other thing we could do is make the box bigger. We're basically making this backdrop box here. Make the box bigger, the text smaller. I'm gonna scoot it up a little tiny bit more. It looks like we have more room above than below here. Okay, too far. One more. Let's try 1. Yeah, looks pretty good on the left side there. And the right side's not bad. We have our like kind of 1 pixel between the bottom and the text, but it would be nice maybe if we could get that 1 pixel margin on the top as well. I think we're really close, truthfully. I think I may just bump the size of the box 1 bigger. Okay, so we started with this stuff, but I think we're gonna end up not doing it for now, at least. Let's do it this way, though. Undo. Have that one, so we're gonna do this. Okay, but this was actually part of what we want, which is putting our file name here. CircuitPython to support HC05. I don't know. I don't think so. Well, I think that's a UART thing. Maybe there's... You could talk to it, but I don't know if there's a driver for it. First song. Do we want it to go 1 taller on the top side? So this should get smaller by 1. So we kind of have 2 pixels here, so should have 1 after we run this. I don't know if this just refreshes itself. That looks the same to me. Do the right cutout. This is the Kerr song shape. So the other thing is this is pre-shrinking. Maybe one is not big enough. Maybe that got rounded out by shrinking that took place after. Same there for me. X, Y, the top left corner, X, Y of the bottom right corner. It's not running on Jackie Chan. Would have been doing bass each time. Yeah. Okay. Let's back. Yeah. Classic. Just not looking at the right output. Honestly, we could maybe go 1 more even and still have 1 pixel of the transparency effect. Let's look at it this way. It is better. We got our 1 pixel now above the A and the M. But the tall letters, the 2 L's, are very close to the edge still. Touching the edge, I think. Let's try 1 more pixel and see if it... I do kind of like the little transparency effect of like overlaying. I don't necessarily want to block that out all the way. That's pretty good looking. Yeah, I think I like that. I wonder if there are 2 pixels below. If I scoot my label down by 1, will it be touching the bottom? If we had room to go down by 1, I guess we moved up by 1 before, so probably not. If we had room to go down by 1, that would be nice. Yeah, that puts it on the baseline. Yeah, I think I'd rather have the space. We're gonna have a space somewhere. I think I'd rather have it... Well, ideally we'd like 1 pixel of space on both top and bottom would be nice, but if we're gonna have either one or the other, I think bottom does seem better. But a nice clean baseline. We could maybe scooch in to the right by like 1 or 2, because I do notice the 1 there that's starting here was real close to the corner, maybe touching the corner of the box a little bit. Yeah, so we could go 1 bigger. That would give us the extra pixel, but it would remove pretty much the top pixel, the top remaining pixel of transparency effect, which is so small, I guess you may not see it when it's on the device, but it depends what's there. Different themes are going to have different stuff going on there too. So I think I'm going to leave it this way for now. Text here, maybe we'll do scale by 2, and then here we'll see how many rows will fit in the playlist. What do I want to work on next? I think let's go back to pulling the text color. Which is back to here. I think, what are we doing right now? We're taking 1 pixel. Yeah, taking 1 pixel, 126 by 27. And 26 by 27 is what we're doing right now. Go 1 by 1. Okay, and so the other font that we were looking at, this happened to be part of the letter, but in this one it's not. What if we, and I think somebody, C. Grover maybe, I think mentioned this yesterday on the stream in the chat. What if we took a larger section and kind of scan multiple pixels here? So what I'm thinking is, maybe we take, I'm thinking maybe we take this whole section here, we look at all of these pixels, and we count up how many times each color appears. And then at the end, whichever one appeared more, we assume that's the background color. Whichever one appeared less, we assume that's the foreground color. Because we know that all of our previews should be showing a 1. We assume the 1 is going to have probably either 1 or 2 pixels of foreground in this particular row. But there is no rule that says it must. It could be 3 or 4 if the 1 happens to be super bold or something. But if we take this nice range of 15 pixels or whatever, as long as no more than 7 of them are foreground, then we will find it correctly. So it gives us some leeway with the 1 here. Vast majority of them, it's probably just going to be 1 pixel or 2 pixels, which is no problem, but this gives us a little bit of extra room for even more different texts. So let's say we want to, in our converter code, and this occurs before the shrinking, before the resize. Well, this is the CircuitPython code. So we have right now text colored this. So we're gonna do find text color list, which will be a list. We're going to say for I in range 15. We're going to say find text color list append image.get. I don't know why that doesn't autocomplete. Image.get pixel. Tuple. So the range we want is 109 by 28. 109 by 28, and then we'll just be adding I to here. So the first time through I will be 0. We'll look at exactly pixel 109. The next time through 110, 112, well, 11, 12, 13, so on. We're going to get all of those getting bigger by 1 each time, so we're moving to the right. We're appending them into the list. Should we have 2 lists, or should we just calculate it after the fact? Or use a dictionary? I will say, I do often just jump directly to using a dictionary. Sometimes I think I jump there too fast. In this case, though, a dictionary does seem pretty helpful. If we said find text color dictionary instead of list, and then we do this. If the current pixel color is in the dictionary already, I don't know if we need dot keys, maybe not, I'm not actually sure. If it's in the dictionary, then, whoa. Then set it, well, plus equal 1. It's bigger by 1. Else, if it was not in the dictionary yet, then set it into the dictionary and put it on 1. If it's not in there yet, we count the first one. If it is in there, then we just increment the count. And now for color in this dot keys, well, so pixel smallest pixel count. I'm gonna call it lowest, actually. Lowest pixel count, so we'll start on none. So we'll just say if not, so if it is none, then we just set it to the first one. Set it to the first one. Else, if the lowest pixel count, the old one, if the old one is greater than the current one, that means the current one is lower, which means we want to update the old one to be the current one. I don't know, this is backwards, isn't it, though? Because now we have the lowest count, but we don't... we need the color. We can't go backwards from the count to the color. We could just set the color at the same time, I guess. So if this was the first time through, this is none. We set it to the first one, we set the text color to the current color. If our saved value is greater than the value of the next color we're looking at, count of it, then set our lowest count to the one we're looking at, and set the text color at the same time. So this should give us, I think, black for Jackie Chan. Much better. Okay. Also for posterity, let's print the list. Well, let's print the dictionary, I guess. We should have like 14 and 1 in this case. Perfect. This color appeared 14 pixels. This color appeared 1 pixel. We should probably do something similar for these. But these are complicated a bit because there could be colons here. They're not represented in this one, but they could be there. So if we just took a line like this, we could accidentally get a couple of colors from the colons, which could throw off our count. What are we doing right now? Oh, we could, for the backdrop, I think we just picked a 20 by, picked one in here. Yeah. Which does work. We could also use our dictionary now, though. Right, we have lowest pixel count. We could say backdrop color. Start that on none. Largest or highest? Highest. Pixel count. We basically just also do the largest one here. So if not largest, highest, then the highest. Text color, yeah, we're still doing this. This is all the same. This would be backdrop color. Backdrop color, highest, highest. And this would be flipped though, right? Probably. If the one that's stored is greater than, yeah, so this should be flipped to lower. So if the one that's stored is lower than the one we're looking at, then change the one that's stored to be the one that we're looking at. Set the backdrop color. Okay. Now we should have our text and our backdrop color. Color, unresolved reference. Oh, I did change to this, okay. Okay, well, let me copy this. Oops. Okay. Save. It still comes out right. Okay, yeah, we're still good. So if this would have been a different color, then we'd be in trouble, but we're good. So in the case of Jackie Chan, it's actually the same. Let me grab one where they're different. I believe we saw one where they were different. I like this ASCII one. Although at first glance, all the ones... Here we go. Okay, yeah, I think this might have even been it, actually. Alright, it doesn't like to just open the images in the browser. So this one does have blue colored. Time and pink colored. Song. Download? Like it downloaded? Oh, okay. Oh. Already. See, and this one has 2 pixel wide zeros also, which means inside is 1. So like if we counted this, you know, we'd find 5. Well, we'd find 5 total. 4 foregrounds and 1 background. The 132. And that same 5 pixels on this one actually gives us the exact opposite. 4 backgrounds and 1 foreground. No, that can't be right because this is 9. So yeah, the count was right, but obviously the place I had it was wrong. But it's 4 backgrounds in 1. So we can't just take the exact same strip. Well, this particular exact same strip won't work because it would lead to different results for these 2 different themes. So this is 27. This is 27 here. Hmm. So some of these can have texture in the background as well, which could also throw this off some. Like this one has these extra little dots, so on any one row, if we would happen to choose a row with the dots, you know, technically we really have two background colors. And that would throw off our numbers some. This one also has the hyphens. Well, not hyphens, but colons. Yeah, this one is a lot trickier. A lot trickier. Was this thing in the same spot? Let's call it 3232. Something we could count on? It holds true on this one. Ooh, just barely on this one, but it does hold true. I don't know about that though. This one, it doesn't even have the, I wish those wouldn't change when I clicked on them. Or I wish I could do this and it would not download it. See, this one doesn't have the triangle at all. We couldn't really count on that, I don't think. It's also opening tabs for these, even though in them. It does have the triangle. So do we want to, how do we want to do this? Do we want to, I mean, we could always just take the same color that we found for current song. Would be nice, though, we could get color of this, but I'm just not confident we can make a scheme that's gonna actually be correct on all of them. So if we did imagine this column, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 light grays. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10 blacks, 2 greens, and this is 52, 24. But here, $52, 24 would give us many foregrounds. So we could say just do 53. 3 here. Oh no, I'm on 53. 3. 3 would actually work here. And it would work here as well. Let's try one more. Let's do this one. Another one. See if it looks like it would come up with the same thing. See, this one's tricky because the font's actually 2 colors too. This one would be pretty tough actually, because 324 is 12 pixels tall. Same as the others for now. We could change it to a different height, but in this case we'd get our other color of red would actually throw us off here a little bit. Like 3 pixels black. I think another 4 in here. So 7 black. So we would in this case actually end up with the bright red. Well, no. The dark red would come in and throw us off actually. we tried to look for the one with the least, we'd pick the dark red. I guess would be okay in the grand scheme of things. Could also try this one instead. Five. Same here. Wait, what? That didn't change. Okay. What? So what scares me is if we had one where we had a similar looking font as this. If we happen to hit this row column, a column that looks like this, right? Obviously we're gonna hit whichever column we set it to, but on one that happened to have a thick font like this, if we hit this, we have from 20 to 14, so we had 6 pixels down here, 3 up here. So we had 9 and then 11. And 9 blacks and 11 blues. So we would get the wrong color if we counted the one with the least. We could take a second slice. I guess let's try it like this and then we'll go looking for a few more that seem like they would be on the edge of confusing it, and if we find out there's issues, then we'll try to make a secondary check or something, some other way to do it. So if we planned on 65, go up by 1, 3 on this one. Look like we have room to start at 23. We start at 23 and do 21 before we get to those, on this one at least. This one too. Oh, but these aren't checking, right? I just looked at that and said this one too, but it's not true. Well, it may be true, but I don't know yet, right? Because this is not actually... Need to remember that. This doesn't update live when I change. Get the darker color, which is okay. 3, okay. Yeah, I guess let's try it like this. So... these are relevant anymore. We're basically doing the same kind of thing as this. As well. We're resetting this back to empty. We're gonna go 21 instead of 15. Our starting pixel is 6523. Okay, so get the pixel. If it's in, then increment it. We need our starting. If it's in the dictionary, increment it. If it's not in the dictionary, add 1. Add it to the dictionary, set it to 1 rather. We just took the same backdrop color. We only need to do one of these. The rest of this should work the same. We have time color. Time color. So Jackie Chan, we should get black, I think. Base, we should get green. Whoa. Get a grid, I didn't know that. And color, we did not get black. Right. This time we're doing a vertical stripe. There we go. Now we should get black, right? Yeah. Okay, so let's try Doritos one. Oh. Okay. Would have picked this one. Okay. Our text color is more on the orangey side. Our time color is on the red side. Does look to me like it probably would have come out that way. Base. Green. Yep. Name a couple of these weird ones. I want to say that. Downloaded it. Alright, that's... Yikes. I don't even want to know what it comes up with on this one. Probably something roughly grayish. Boy, this one's on test. Try Star Trek. So our text color came out wrong. But the time color seems alright, probably. It's like bluish. Bluish greenish. Text color came out almost black though. So 109.28, and we did a horizontal. Did I misread it? That seems like the smallest count would have been ink. Switching to text color, mostly black. Okay, so black had 10, almost black had 1. I see what the problem is. Too many ones. I don't know. Where is... This is ink. This is what we actually want. Well, this turned out to be a much harder problem to solve than I had imagined before. So the problem is we have different colors within the background. Background is not a solid color. And so we're seeing some of those different colors when we scan. Some of them only appear once, which means we end up assuming that's our font color. So we could try looking at a vertical line. Count the most pixels instead of the least pixels, but this appears at 113. 13 on this one as well. Okay, so can we count on 113? Or it looks like yes. So we could say take a couple of pixels from row 1 from column 113. Whatever color appears most will be the color that we assume the font is. I don't even know what that is. Is that Team Rocket or something? I don't know what these people are. Yu-Gi-Oh! I have no idea how to spell. Okay. This would get a box cut out. Boxes, I think maybe I did too. Or I might have even done all 4. This is going to be difficult to line up the time text into. I have 23. I'm guessing this one wouldn't come out right. Oh, what a difficult problem to solve. I hadn't considered how different some of these could be. I wish the download link was easier to get. That's the other thing we found on Saturday is the download link doesn't get populated on the page until after the JavaScript runs, which means we don't have a super easy way to scrape it. I would love to just download the zip and unzip it and look at specifically the number bitmap, which throws out the whole problem of the background being confusing like it is on this one. We could also give up on finding the color of the numbers and just use the same as the color for the current song. But I do kind of wish we could get the number of the colors right. So far, I've only seen 2 different ones here. So what if for the current song we say we're gonna get this right here, 8 pixels tall. 6 of them are foreground in the middle, the outer 2 are backdrop. We should always have more foreground than we do background. The only reason we wouldn't is if we missed entirely, if the one was not aligned. So far, all the ones I looked at, the ones were aligned on X pixel 113. $26. And then basically flip. Whenever we update the lowest pixel count, we actually want to set the backdrop color. Whenever we update the highest pixel count, that's actually the text color. That got us our pink. Time color is still right on this one, but I assume that Yu-Gi-Oh! Is not going to come out right. Yeah, we ended up with like a dark pink of some sort. Yeah. This maybe. Yeah. Does this align? This should align on all of them. 48 by 26, 9 by 13. They do align. They all have a rectangle at this area where the font fits inside of. The thing is that the different themes use different fonts, and so they may occupy more or less of the entire rectangle. Or be off center like this one is. And they could be bold or not, and if they're not bold, most likely the background pixel has more, background color has more pixels represented than the foreground if they're not bold. But if they are bold, like this one or this one, perhaps there's more white pixels than there are black pixels. I don't actually know, I haven't done the count, but at a glance, it looks like it could be kind of close. Possibly there could be more white, and certainly depending on the font, there could be more. Hmm. So we know that these are always going to make an O. We know these are always going to be an O. Use that somehow? Like if we drew an X, we would bisect the top and bottom and the right and left, but we wouldn't know where to draw the X. Like this one is off center, so if we drew an imaginary vertical line in the center and imaginary vertical horizontal line in the middle, they would intersect on a foreground color, but on this one it looks like a background color. On this one it's certainly a background color. Yeah, I don't think I can. I don't think I can come up with a rule that's going to work on all of them. I guess I'm sure there probably is one that exists, but I'm not super confident that I'm going to come up with it. Which is a bummer, because I would like it to, quote unquote, just work, right? I would like it to pull this color and use it. I guess what we could do is still put time color into the config and just populate it with the same color that we used for the text. And if the user wants to for their theme, they can go and look at the time color. Because the thing here, like a human, this is a trivial problem for a human, right? You could probably have a toddler, and as long as you could explain to them, like, you could have a toddler, you could ask them what color the numbers are, they could tell you the right color if they're looking at it, right? As long as they can recognize them as numbers and such, right? They'll know these ones are white, they'll know these ones are red, they'll know these ones are green, they'll know these ones are blue. For a human, it's easy to look at and determine the color of them, but because of the variance between them, it's actually quite difficult for the computer to look at and determine the color of the font. Because there's differing conditions in the background. Some of them have the extra dots in the background, like this one. Some of them don't. Some of them have multicolored fonts. This has 2 shades of red. Some of them have the parts in between filled in, whereas others don't. Some of them are squished and off-center. Again, I'm sure there probably is an algorithm. There probably is a series of rules the program could use and get it correct on the vast majority of them. But even with just 5 or 6 or so that I've been looking at, every kind of idea I have comes with counterpoints on the ones I'm looking at. Like each idea I'm having, I could say, oh, that would work for this one and this one, but it's going to fail on this other one. That was rude. Therapy cat just knocked over my sun blockers, so I'm going to go set that back up. I'll be back. This one's even got fancier text. That's the other thing, is some of these use a little more liberty with the font design than the others. Some of them are like sort of monocolor fonts, no texture or anything. but some of them are these much more fancier. Like in this one, each font glyph, I could zoom in nicely, I should open it and get by guess, but each font glyph contains like a background and a border. And in this case, it's also gradiented to make it look a little 3D or something. Okay, we're back. Yeah, so I think a lot of the first ones I saw happen to be the same color. And as I look through this page, a lot of them appear to be the same color to me. There are certainly some that are not. But by and large, I feel like the majority, at least just skimming through here, the majority are the same. You know, black and black, black or maybe dark gray. Same color there, same color there. This one's different. It has green numbers and black text. This one's the same. This one looks the same to me. This one looks the same to me. This one looks the same to me. This one's different. Pink numbers, white text. Blue and blue. This looks the same. This looks the same. This looks the same. This looks the same. White, red. These are opposite, so they're different. These are both the same black. There's both white, both orange, both tan, both, well, white at the tops. Those are technically different, but white would be close enough. These are different. This looks orange and white, white and white, white and white, teal and teal, green and green, orange and orange. So, you know, maybe it's like 60 or 70% of them are the same. And, you know, 30 or 40% is not as small as I'd like it to be. But it is still in the minority. And I think we will still have the config file. And so the person could obviously still like come here and just look at their image and change their color here. Main graphic, what is this? I was able to set transparency on a bitmap when using image load. I converted my code to use on-disk bitmap. Yeah. You still set it on the palette mostly the same way. Sorry, I'm in the chat room here. You can still set the transparency on the palette mostly the same way. They didn't post all the code, which means that we can't actually see the part of the code where they would do that in what they posted. I do know this works though. I just did this on a recent project, work from home PyPortal, busy simulator. If we look here, so it's getting a pixel shader from the bitmap. The tile grid is what marries together a bitmap and a pixel shader, or a palette if you prefer. There might be a technical difference between those two, I don't know. They're both a list of colors that map to the colors in the image. So bitmap.pixelshader should give you the one for this bitmap, and then if that doesn't exist, it gives you this default value, which is the old way color converter. Really, we should be looking at the new way here. This, which is bitmap.pixelshader. Bitmap, which is the on-disk bitmap, so theirs is main graphic. main graphic, pixel shader, make transparent, yeah, make transparent 0. I think I want to do a series of videos about the basics of display I/O. I don't know the exact format though. It would be nice to kind of have some video content that teaches people display I/O though. This is an idea I've been kicking around for a few days, I think maybe a week or so. First time I thought of this. I think though, somebody brought it up in the meeting maybe. I think there's definitely room for some display I/O video content. It could be neat to do something kind of like John Park's CircuitPython Parsec, but like specific to display I/O. So like real short, bite-sized, like 2 to 3 to like probably maximum 5 minutes or so on the videos. I haven't actually gone through and looked at all the parsecs. I think they're all shorter than 5 minutes. But basically really, really self-contained bite-sized chunks. And just get the point across, show it real quick, explain it, and then be done. I think there's room for that, but I think there's also maybe there could be room for a longer form, maybe like 10 to 20 minutes to thoroughly explain a concept, or maybe 10 to 20 minutes to like sit down and explain the basics, like explain tile grids and bitmaps and displays and groups, and those are kind of the basic building blocks of display I/O, so explain each of those and how they interact with each other, and show the most basic ways to initialize and use all of them. I can see a couple of different concepts in there that could be nice. So I should really try to narrow it down, or maybe end up just making 2 different styles of them. So I think what I will do is just keep the color, we'll just assume it's the same, and then in the guide, this is ultimately going to go in a guide. In the guide, we'll have a section that will just say, like, you know, double check your input preview. If the color doesn't seem to make sense on the time, then, you know, manually modify it. Just go in and look at the color. You could use the eyedropper if you want in GIMP or whatever. Eyedropper it and then plug it in, and you'll modify it in the JSON code here. So let's just call, yeah, let's just drop time color altogether. And then let's just also say that time color is equal to text color. Doesn't really matter at that point. We probably don't need a second. Probably don't need a second variable, but whatever. We're just going to put it in here. Time color, time color. It'll come out the same. And then they can change it if it doesn't match up, or if they want to. This was nice too, because it also shows them into the config file, which they could use to change other things as well. So like if they want to take that Winamp theme and customize it even further, they would be able to do that here. So that's nice. Maybe even do things like including font file definitions in here. Might be kind of interesting. We can't pull them out of the preview image, obviously, but could have it where if you put a font in there, then it will override the default, maybe. Might be kind of interesting. Don't know for sure. So let's make sure this works. Should come out to the 2 of the same colors, Yu-Gi-Oh! Yep. Looks good. Okay. Okay. So for Yu-Gi-Oh! This would be one of the ones where they would actually be different. We should maybe try this one as well. Or cut out. Oh. I have done something backwards. Did I do something back? I did something backwards. Oops. Oh, that one looks okay. So did we find our one that's not 113? Oh, I see what the problem is. We did not find our one that's not 113. This is still 113, but the problem is the pixels above and below aren't the backdrop color. Yeah, so go back to picking the backdrop color from over here. I will say is a little nice because we can also just get rid of all of this. $120 by 29. There we go. Sure this still works. Oh. Good. All right, so let's put this one on the device, Yu-Gi-Oh. Base. All right, that looks pretty good. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Go to the preview, which is here. I will say the camera's playing a bit of a trick on this part down here. This looks much darker in the camera than it does. I just tried to take my finger off of the screen here and point at the stuff that's in my IDE. Whoops. Obviously I can't do that because it's on my screen. in here, it's brighter than here. But when you look at the screen, it's actually not. When I look at the screen directly, it looks more like this. This is just the angle I'm catching the pi portal. I need to figure out if anybody knows this. This is awfully random. I should ask when I have a larger audience on a Saturday sometime. If anybody knows a good solution for like videoing and picturing devices with screens, I need some any and all ideas on that front. I've noticed that. Is there a white thing over here? Yeah, there is. Okay. I don't know what this thing is, but it's there on this too. So out of place. I wonder if that's a mistake or if that's supposed to be there. Maybe it's like a widening bar or something. You click it to make it wider. I've noticed I have this problem. Like, if my device is flat, this pi portal, for instance, if it's flat, it shines the reflection of the light. The light is attached to the camera. Turn it off. This actually looks all right. You can tell how the brightness is affected by that. Much better now. And this actually looks okay. It's a little washed out, but it's not bad. But it's noon. We have a lot of light coming in through the window. Anytime when it's not sunny out, this gets all weird and glowy and washed out and doesn't really look right. So then I end up having to turn this on, and once I turn this on, the color in here gets a lot vibrant and a lot better, but then I have the light problem. And so what I have been doing is this, just put whatever screen it is at an angle. This way the light is technically, the reflection is still there, it's just not getting picked up by the camera, right? It's further back out of the camera's view. You can see it starting here at the top, but it's not quite on the screen all the way. But I really need to come up with a good way to, got cat hair on the desk, need to come up with a good way to light a flat device with a screen and be able to photograph it from the top down in a well-lit environment, but without the reflection. So if anybody knows if there's a device or a certain type of lighting rig or a certain type of camera or something like that, anybody knows any tips on photography in that front of like capturing pictures of a screen, thing with the screen, top down. We want to get the colors, but we don't want to get the reflection from the light. And we do probably need to use a light because oftentimes without the light, it's too dark. Like in the room that I'm in for it to work that way. Anyway, that's a side quest. Got about an hour until the meeting. I think I may head out for now. Cut off the stream. We have the meeting in about an hour. I'll be there, of course. I am actually running the meeting for the first time next week, not today. I think Dan's got today, but I think my first one is next week, so I'm looking forward to that. And yeah, I'm gonna probably keep working on this today. Gonna get these numbers put in here. Gonna get some text put in down here. Get the actual code maybe written to read the SD card and populate the playlist of MP3 files from it. I may come back and stream in the afternoon after the meeting. I don't actually know for sure, but possibly. So if, if you're interested in this project and you want to catch more of me working on it, let me know. On Discord or Twitch or somewhere. I can. If anybody is interested, then I'll probably come back. But I don't know. Other than that, it'll just depend how I'm feeling this afternoon after the meeting. If I feel like doing some more talking, explaining, that's kind of what I do. Is like if I feel like explaining what I'm working through, then I'll hop on the stream. But if I feel like just working and not really talking, then I'll just work without the stream on. So we'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling this afternoon. I will head out for now, though. Thank you to anybody who watched. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you next time. Thanks.